Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Mebois Podcast, episode 10. I'm Josh. I'm here with
Ray.
Ray.
I was about to jump in, and then you added the "I'm with," and I'm like, oh, maybe he's gonna say my whole name.
I'm here with Reginald. Reginald. I was just thinking we should get some guests on here.
We'll
But
get,
anyway,
we'll get Laura Kate Dale.
yeah, Laura Kate Dale. So, Kotaku UK put out an article on the 18th titled "Super Smash Bros. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's Persona 5 DLC includes a disability slur." So right away, that caught a lot of people's interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, they go on to say, the protagonist of Persona 5, Joker, has been added to the game, and part of the DLC is there's music included from Persona 5,
Mm-hmm.
and the one track that this article talks about, "Wake Up, Get Out There," the writer is claiming that around 2 minutes in, they seem to say the word retarded during this, like, it's sort of like an improv, toned down, just like,
Speaking bit.
speaking part, basically. And so they transcribe the lyrics as they hear them, because that's the, I guess, what caused this article to exist, is that the lyrics for this part of the song don't really exist, just because they're sort of like improv-y.
Uh-huh.
I know from other sources that they performed it live multiple times, and each time it's like slightly different. So it's like not really officially part of the song. I don't think it's just part of the performance. But
It's like a Pearl Jam concert.
right, it's like Meatloaf.
No, I was just saying that because apparently Pearl Jam, when they do live performances, sometimes they switch up the lyrics for some certain songs.
I like to imagine when bands do that, it's just because they can't remember their own songs. It's like they're not in the studio, so they can't just look at it. So they're just like, "Ah, fuck it." Yeah. So their transcription of what is said is, "Oh, hi, are you ready? Ready to pick up the pieces? Let's go. Let's play retarded. I can I can say it. Are you ready? Uh-huh.
I have the retard pass. I can say it.
Yeah. Unlimited uses." So I mean, first of all, like, even in their transcription, first of all, red flags, they don't have the official lyrics.
Uh-huh. Red flag. It's Kotaku.
Red flag is Kotaku. Red flag is Laura Kate Dale, which we'll get into in a second.
Mm-hmm.
And then another red flag, it doesn't fit really. It's like, let's play retarded.
Yeah, it would make more sense if it was let's play retard. But even that.
That would be even weirder to me. I don't know. It's
At least
like,
it would make sense.
it's not like they say, like, let's get retarded or some shit.
Yeah.
Do you remember that song?
Yeah, I do.
Get retarded in here.
I really like that song. I think it was in 6th grade.
I'm sorry. Let's get it started.
There was a version, wasn't there?
Yeah,
They made it
that was like the more popular version, really.
Yeah, dude. My friends and I, we love that. And then, because we're just like, yeah, let's be retarded.
So maybe that's what this person was thinking of. Like, they just had that song in their mind. They're like, oh yeah, of course. And then midway through the article, there's midway through the article, there's an ad that has a dog, and it says, "Distracted driving is a faux pas." Anyway, back to the article. Just to tell you the quality of ads that they have on Kotaku UK. And then, so the next paragraph is basically saying, I'll read it word for word, actually. The term retarded is considered a slur against people with mental disabilities. It's been commonly used as a pejorative, blah, 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 blah. So it's like, okay, they're explaining to us what retarded means. Like, we're retarded.
Yeah.
Um, and they're basically saying, like, nobody, and is widely accepted as a term that should not be used in English-speaking parts of the world. It's like,
So everywhere else is fine though.
yeah, I don't even know if that's accurate, if it's widely accepted. Like,
I don't think so. Like I remember being in
for a
middle
little
school.
while, people were really cracking down on it, but
Yeah, like
I don't think people care now.
was it the same for you? Like in middle school, teachers would always show you these videos of why you shouldn't say the word retarded.
No.
No, I had that a lot in middle
I
school.
think they called us retarded.
Like middle school, it was like we were getting videos. Oh, you shouldn't say retarded. You shouldn't call things gay. You know that's gay. This is gay.
That's like the worst thing to say to kids, because then they're all just gonna say it.
Well, it's like that thing, don't think of a white elephant, especially with
Yeah.
kids. Like you tell them not to do something.
Kids love white elephants.
Yeah. Black elephants not so much.
Well, just soccer playing kids.
But I remember the guy who plays Dr. Cox on Scrubs. He's got a son, I think, who has a mental disability, and he was like at the forefront of one of those movements to like get rid of the word. Maybe not get rid of the word, but stop using the word so freely. But
Right.
I feel like it's really died down. I haven't seen a lot of that recently.
Yeah, it's just another one of those things where it comes and goes. And like, I'll say it just for clarity's sake, I understand why people wouldn't want other people to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the whole point I've ever used it, generally comedic, and most of the time it's just like a replacement for stupid or something.
Yeah.
I understand how people could get offended because, like, people who have disabilities, I've never called someone who actually had a mental disability retarded.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even what it is.
Yeah, there's two points I would make on that. Is one is that Michael Scott quote: "You don't call retarded people retards. You call your friends retarded when they're acting retarded." and then there's I was looking at like I think it was like a history of words type video, and it was regarding it was basically talking about words like retarded and moron and stupid and idiot. Like how idiot back in the day was the medical term for people with a mental disability or people with.
That's so funny though.
Yeah, so over time, this is just what people do. People will take a word that's gonna hurt you the most to make fun of you. That's just how it works. Once when idiot was the word, people started calling people idiots when they were acting stupid. When it was moron, he was moron. When it was retard, they switched to retard.
Yeah. I mean, that's just part of the way language evolves.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, I'm going to say it multiple times here. So I don't want people thinking like, oh man, he hates mentally disabled people. It's like, no, I would never be cruel to anybody like that on purpose. Unless they were being a retard. But no, it's just very, I've got no problem with not saying it, just like as a personal choice.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a problem when people get kind of high and mighty about it.
Yeah, and when they when they tell you can't use certain words, it's always it's always who made you judge, jury. You know what I mean?
Who made you Judge Judy? Why can't I say the N-word? Every time I ever talk about like, words you can't say with anybody or whatever, I feel like it always devolves to white people being like, "Why can't I say it?"
Well, I feel like that's the extreme it comes to,
Yeah,
because it'll be, why can't I say it? Or someone can go around and say, well, do you think it's okay for white people to say the N word? And you're just like,
yeah, yeah. Right. It's like nobody wants to go there. It's just so funny. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Um, but yeah, it's like okay. So the next paragraph. Needless to say, this is not exactly fit Nintendo's family-friendly image. It's like, yeah, that's why they didn't do it. Like, that's another red flag. There is like, okay, you've got Persona, which is like a fairly uh, mature game, but like they don't really say shit like that in Persona even, and then you're adding it to Super Smash, um, and it's like, do you think they would really include something that has the word retarded in it? It's like, you think they didn't check all these songs to make sure that their image isn't upheld? Like, it, it's so vain to think that you're the one who caught this.
maybe it's like
Um,
those hidden messages in Disney movies. You have like when Simba lies on the grass and it poofs in the air and you see sex. It spells out sex, but really it actually spells out SFX, which is something the studio does a lot because it's like their calling card.
because they love sex.
No, because they're special effects.
Um, yeah, I mean, think about it. Nintendo has a history of this. You remember Super Mario Galaxy? You are Mr. Gay. You remember that?
No.
I think it was Galaxy. I can't remember, but like on the cover art of the case, it had Super Mario Galaxy, and then next to each one of the letters of "You are Mr. Gay," there was a star next to it.
Let me see.
It's just like one of those funny things.
Wait. So what was it? So next to the letters is a
Yeah, if you
star
look next to the letter, each one that has like a star in like the corner of them or whatever,
in the word galaxy or in all the words.
in the whole thing.
Oh. It all looks pretty normal to me. I don't see anything.
Well, I guess you're not Mr. Gay then.
Guess not.
Um,
I'm Mr. Retarded.
anyway, yeah. That's gonna be the new Mario game. But yeah, so and then at the bottom of the article, it just says that we've reached out to both Nintendo and Persona 5's European publisher Deep Silver for comment, and we'll update this article with any response. So another red flag there. Uh, it said, I believe at some point it said R, or like it sounds like. So I think multiple people at Kotaku did listen to this. Um, so red flag there. They all heard it, but then they didn't confirm it before publishing the article. And what's annoying about that is that in the article it says um, at around 157, it appears the term retarded is used, um, and followed up with the assertion that I can say it, which is great. Um,
That's actually pretty funny.
yeah, like I bet they just got mad about the "I can say it" part, and so they just like they're like, of course they said it. They're just gloating now. Those sneaky Japanese. That's the other thing too. Is like, okay, I should mention this. I can't remember if I did, but like the singer of this song, she has a pretty heavy accent, and that's
Mhm.
why this misunderstanding happened.
Right. She's not a
Um,
native English speaker.
no, and also that part of the song is like kind of quiet and fast, so like it's understandable that you would mishear
Hmm.
it. But generally, I think that you should always assume that you're wrong until you're proven right, so you don't make a fool of yourself.
Hmm.
Like you just consider like what's more likely, Occam's razor or whatever. Um, and it's like, yeah, am I just mishearing this or am I just like whatever? But anyway, what annoys me is that the article says it appears the term retarded is used, but the title of the article is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Persona 5 DLC includes a disability slur.
Yeah.
It doesn't say appears to include a disability slur. And that's just so irresponsible, especially before you even got a comment from the publisher or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just clickbait is what it is. But like you literally could have thrown an appears there in the title, and this would have never been a problem. Obviously, people have a problem with the article. It's been a whole big thing. But if you just say appears there, then fine. That'd be like an article like many of the other ones where people are like, oh, did you know it looks like it says sex in the Lion King?
Yeah, but even those are. I feel like it's still. Nah, it's not very good ethics to even do that.
I mean, that's so old at this point. But yeah, I mean, it's. I don't know. It would be less irresponsible.
It would.
But so anyway, a day later, less than a day later, actually, another article came out saying that the title is "We screwed up with that persona lyric." That's the title.
Oh, but we should keep in mind that the article, the one who wrote that, is not the same person who wrote the disability slur article.
No. Yeah, this person I think is their editor, and you know it's such a we'll link the two articles in the description,
Mm-hmm.
but like it's a very strange thing because basically, you know, they said that they'll update the article with a link to this one or whatever, and you know have a comment about it, but they don't delete articles. Uh, they say like because it's the internet and deleting an article wouldn't do any good or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but I could think of a couple good reasons not to keep that up. Like
Yeah.
just like once you discover that you're wrong, maybe don't keep that misinformation up there.
Yeah, the one of the top comments on the screwed up article is pretty much, I feel like gets it right, is you should so he says Kotaku UK does not delete articles on the internet. What would be the point? And this person says to stop stirring up shitty controversy when there's none, and to continue to farm up clicks because your titles are clickbait garbage.
Yeah, fair point. I mean that's games journalism in general, but you know what it really is, at least in my opinion, is that imagine how many people are searching for this article right now,
Mm-hmm.
and you remember how I talked about that faux pas ad in the middle of it.
Yeah.
This page has about 7 ads on it, or at least I mean I'm on mobile, so at least that's what I'm seeing. There's like 5 or 7 ads, and they like alternate.
I have an ad blocker. I only see 3 sponsored links.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I guess I'm including the sponsored links, but so they're obviously getting probably more added revenue from this article than they do from their other articles because there's just so much controversy around it. So by taking it down, they would lose out on that revenue. So they're just leaving it up and profiting off their misinformation.
Yeah. Sure.
Which I think is pretty scummy.
It is.
There's no integrity move by leaving it up and being like, oh, we'll own our mistakes, because they said they'll update it, but the thing is, they say they're having they're having back end improvements to our site, and updates are taking quite a while to appear.
Yeah.
Which is like very convenient. I mean, I don't doubt it. It probably they probably would update it if they could.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, okay, well, this is making it a whole lot worse because you can still find that article, at least at the time of recording this, on the 21st. You can still find the original article up. It still has that same slanderous title, and it's got no updates about, yeah, we're wrong about this.
Yeah.
And the article talking about how they screwed up, it's funny that it's sort of, first of all, the editor takes responsibility for it. The writer did not.
Which
at least
I can understand.
not
that
from
to
what
an
I can
extent.
see.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean the approval process.
Yeah. But shouldn't there be, if he's gonna write it, which I can understand if he's gonna write, he's the editor. Shouldn't there be a statement from her, the one who wrote the article?
Right.
You know what I mean? even on Twitter, because she's taken down her Twitter now too.
So did she delete her Twitter or make it private?
She said she was doing that. I'm taking a step back from Twitter now for a bit, something like that. Some pity party tweet. The other thing about it's not really an apology article, but the apology article is that he says, we checked with Atlas, who confirmed that the actual lyrics of the song do not include the word retarded. Frustratingly, this does not clear up the confusion.
Yeah.
Like, this is a...
It's like they owe you some response or something. Like,
Yeah. It's like a sorry, but not really.
yeah. Well, yeah. It's like earlier. Um, yeah, several readers had contacted us about the lyric that appeared to be a disability slur, and on listening to the section in question, this appeared plausible. Wait, what? Oh, they're saying that's how they came about writing the article, I guess. Was that several? And it's like, okay, plausible. Then you wrote an article about it, but they're still so skeptical about the whole thing. It's just like, okay. So I mean, to be fair, I'm going to their Twitter, um, and so it does look like they're remorseful or whatever. So like one of the posts, I'm still not sure what the lyric says. Our mistake was to put the article live in a form where it sounded certain of our interpretation when we should have waited for comment back and tailored the piece to reflect people's confusion rather than being definitive about it. I think that's actually a pretty mature and reasonable response.
Mm-hmm.
I still think they should have just taken the article down. I think they should just change it down because they couldn't have changed it right away without comment or whatever. The mistake here was in rushing to publication rather than sitting on it for a while. This is not lost on me. Lessons were learned. I will be taking the rest of this long weekend away from social media. I wish I could have responded to this sooner. I am terribly sorry for this whole situation. Believe me, I did not want to sit there silent while being flooded with understandable criticism.
Is this
I
the
cannot.
editor or
This
Laura?
no. This is Laura, the writer of
Okay.
the article. I cannot and will not give any further comment on this topic at this time. What's funny is that, just like everybody who says they're taking a break from social media,
Mm-hmm.
the next day she's posting about Pokemon Go.
Oh, you know how I said there was a certain thing that made me laugh when I was reading about
Yeah.
Laura Kate Dern? Yeah, I just remember what it was. But
Kate Dale.
oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm saying Laura Dern.
Yeah, you want to say Laura Dern so bad.
Laura Dale. Yeah, I just remembered the detail that made me laugh about her thing. But I'll get into that when we start talking about how precarious her situation is.
Right. So let me just say, yeah, I mean, I actually hadn't read these Twitter posts previous to talking about this,
Mm-hmm.
but like I think that's like better than 95% of the way people respond to criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, besides the taking a break from social media thing, it's just like you don't have to announce that. It's like kind of like attention-seeking thing, which is kind of. But I mean, that's neither here nor there.
Just
That's
delete
not
it.
like my official criticism of it. But yeah, I mean, very professional and good response there. And I also want to say, I actually wasn't too familiar with Laura before this, but like, so I went
Yeah.
to their articles on Kotaku UK, and at least all the other ones I could see were all just like actual like factual articles about games. Like, okay, Fortnite adds aerial combat. Split screen isn't coming to Halo 5. No More Heroes DLC releases tomorrow. Okay, so it's like,
No
okay,
more
that's
split
like,
screen on Halo 5?
I mean, yeah, I had no idea about that. I haven't listened to Halo news in forever. But like all just like things that sound very factual, and I don't doubt that they are factual.
Mm-hmm.
But then all of a sudden, they had to jump on this article about, like, that's the thing. It's like, who's going to steal this from you that you had to publish it right away? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's such a
They say
such a
how long they waited for comment? No, right?
no, I don't think so.
Hmm.
Um, I imagine they waited a day or less than a day,
Probably.
if I had to guess. But yeah, that title alone, it just annoys me that it's so decided that they they included the disability slur.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, that annoys me. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too into it, but just uh, sort of from the videos I've watched on this, it's sort of hearsay, I guess. But this isn't really the first time that uh, that the author has had her ethics questioned.
Hmm.
I think it was in 2016 or something like that. She was uh, on stage at some video game expo or something along those lines, and there was a comedian there. I think they were like DJing it, and I can't remember all the names now, but there's videos out there. Um, and basically, she's trans, and she claimed that the comedian referred to her as like as it and he, I think, and like a whole
He
bunch of
and
others.
also the other one she said was this person.
Right. Which, first of all, isn't a problem. I think we're all people.
Hmm.
Um, this
Yeah.
person, like,
I guess
unless you're
if,
saying it with disdain,
yeah, unless maybe everyone's being referred to by name, and then suddenly he gets to Laura, and he's like, "This person,
and this person,
this
um,
person's an it."
and this retard. Um, yeah. So like, um, apparently she made a big deal about it and was talking about all that, and I think the guy actually apologized,
He
but
did.
then it came out that none of that happened, and it's just like, I mean, I feel like it's a story I hear a lot where people like to make up fake outrage in order to, you know I mean, in some ways I think in their minds it's sort of like to do good in order to like spread awareness about like trans people and using the proper pronouns and whatnot. Like
Hmm.
overall, I don't think that's a negative thing,
No.
but um, it's just like it's just some weird outrage culture where you have to be persecuted,
Yeah, and I think
otherwise you're not part of it.
yeah, and I think it it harms the movement they're fighting for more than it helps.
Well, yeah, because it especially as a games journalist, which I mean that term has sort of been like dragged through the mud for many years. like like people almost don't consider games journalists anymore just because there's been so many examples. But I mean
Hmm.
that's not to there's been plenty of traditional journalists who have published things that really question their credibility and ethics. That's I think games journalism just has a lot of stuff going on. But
Right.
um,
It's more. I guess it's more. I don't know. I feel like when you're a journalist covering pop culture, I don't think you're taken as seriously.
no, I mean in general no, and then you add like video games to the mix, and all of a
Hmm.
sudden it's this weird different thing. But a lot of times, a lot of people aren't helping themselves. Um,
Nope.
but yeah, it's just sort of wanting to be offended, and you can definitely feel that in the article about Persona 5. Um,
Yeah, especially since the article with Persona 5 is it's all about this is what I hear.
yeah,
It's title wise you get the impression it's supposed to be news, and then you read it and it's basically her opinion.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that's the weird thing, right? Is that I mean, it is under news, and news articles feel a lot more casual for games journalism. And I think that's another reason why they're not taking it
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
Because like there are very few writers that I found who like really take it seriously and really are personally detached from it. Because generally these are people who like play the games that they write about or whatever.
Right. So they're obviously
And
going to have some sort of
yeah,
personal
they have
attachment
personal
to it.
opinion. Um, or in this case, you have someone who cares about the words people use or whatever, and you know they already have a hang up about um, you know people using the improper pronouns and whatnot, and you know social justice stuff like that. Um, but it's just like, and let me just say also, it annoys me a little bit that like someone, it's not even like, it's weird because in some ways I think it's not personal enough because you know they say the term retarded is considered a slur against people with mental disabilities, is commonly used as pejorative, blah, 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 blah. Many parts of the world are trying to phase it out of medical texts, blah, blah, blah. So, like, none of that is like them just saying, I personally do not like this word because of blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
which I think would make more sense. It's just like trying to be completely detached of it and saying it as fact.
yeah, exactly. She's making statements and not backing it up.
Um,
You know, if she's
and
going to
yeah,
say,
and you can't back up like the nature of language
yeah,
because like things change.
right, but
Um,
if she's going to claim that medical journals are going to remove the word retarded, I feel like she should back that up by, you know, with saying, you know, back in blah blah blah, discussions took place, you know,
yeah, some sort of official capacity where people decided to
yeah,
change it.
some sort
Because
of like
that's the thing. I don't
footnote or
think.
whatever.
I mean, there might be certain policies about that. I'm not sure, but generally, it's just been like a slow culture shift. But um, it just kind of annoys me that someone someone would hear that and be like, "Look at what Nintendo and look at what Nintendo is doing. They're doing this thing that is wrong. Let's stop them from doing that." It's like, I don't know. It's so. I hate people who try to censor their own language.
Yeah. There's also a bit of boycott culture, if that's a
Oh
thing.
yeah, it's like, yeah, this doesn't line up with Nintendo's family-friendly image. It's like, why would you? Why are you looking to enforce that for them? Like, it doesn't really. It doesn't really make sense to me. But I don't know. Um, yeah, I think it. I think it really does come down to like. This could have just been like a one-time mistake sort of thing. I mean, people make lapses in judgment. Obviously, you want to be the first person to report on something that you think is important, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But
Not like
I
this.
think it really, yeah, I think it really comes down to a couple things that I feel like I talk about a lot, which is sort of, um, first of all, how great the world is now that people can sort of create reasons to be upset and persecuted. You know, like people are so bored that they make up shit.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
I think,
that's how you know life is good.
yeah, because throughout human history, there's always been some sort of thing going against us, and now, you know, for majority of people who aren't in poverty or whatever. Other than that, your life is probably pretty good.
Yeah,
So
and you get bored because it's like, well, it's like not enough people are persecuting me.
yeah,
Like I need to,
yeah. I think that's
especially online.
I think that's why we kind of get carried away with conversations like, what would we do in a zombie apocalypse?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's this whole fantasy of
fight against
having
something.
to survive
Yeah.
because like most of us don't really have to worry about surviving.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at least most people who have like internet access and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so
Obviously,
that just
obviously
sort
there
of
are people
spawns all
who.
these other things.
Yeah, there are obviously people who. This doesn't apply for everyone, obviously.
Yeah.
Majority of people, you probably fall under this bracket of, for the most part, your life is pretty okay.
But yeah, I mean,
so
go ahead.
The thing that made me laugh, I was watching, I can't remember whose video, but he was going through the list of the ethical questions that Laura Dale has gone through, and then there was that like kidnapping situation. Did you hear about that?
Oh yeah.
She was in a car, and I don't know what the guy said in the video, but it just made me laugh. It makes me think of like that Twitch streamer who got into a car with that dude, and she thought it was her Uber.
And he thought she was a prostitute or something.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing. I was like, see, if I was a journalist, I wouldn't be sure that was like a made up story, so I wouldn't publish an article about it because I'd be jumping to conclusions because there just isn't enough information. But hearing that, yeah, it's sort of like a commonly made up story.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, the Uber driver kidnapped. It's like a story time YouTuber or something. The time I was kidnapped. It was like the time your Uber driver rode like one street down too far.
All the title and the captions are all in caps lock.
Yeah. And it's got like a scared face emoji or something.
We spoke Arabic in the airplane and they kicked us out.
Meanwhile, they threatened to bomb the plane.
That's beside the point, Josh.
Yeah. Racist these days, man. But yeah, so I mean, maybe that's a legitimate situation. I mean, you heard about that Uber driver, right? Who killed those people? I can't remember his name now, but
where? I don't think I heard about this.
He was in the U.S. He started off the day by driving really recklessly with passengers in the car and whatnot, and by the end of it, he was basically killing people. So that's not to say that there aren't, crazy criminal Uber drivers out there, because they're just people after all. But I just think it's funny that someone who would lie about someone violently misgendering them to lie about somebody abducting them in an Uber and lie about persona having the word retard in it. Although that's a different thing. I just think those events and the fact that they're public knowledge sort of speak to this person's character in a way that, as someone who doesn't know them, you wouldn't have access to.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know this person, so who knows? It was actually kind of funny because I think the video I watched about this article and about Laura was also by a trans woman.
Is it the one Sophia something?
I can't remember, but it had like 1,000 views or something in a row when I watched it.
I saw a couple. I think I saw that one too.
Maybe we can link that one as well.
I think that's your catchphrase for our podcast.
Hey Jamie, link the video about the trans woman. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, this kind of shit happens all the time. It's just, this is just sort of the article of the week.
Now, I want to get your opinion on something.
Yeah.
Because it's been on my mind
1 week.
lately. What?
It's been 1 week.
Oh. So I've been sort of just to kill time, have some background noise on while I'm doing other stuff. Been rewatching How I Met Your Mother.
Mm-hmm.
I actually rewatched. I had seasons 1 to 5 on my old hard drive, so I watched those last year, and now I have all of them. So I've been rewatching 6 to 8, and I'm rewatching the show, and I'm remembering just how much I love the show and how much a heart it had. It was kind of really quirky. They had some really cool inside jokes that they kept referring to all show around, and it takes a lot of effort to do that kind of stuff, to remember to do callbacks from all the way in season 1, 2, things like that. But
So it's a sitcom, you say?
yeah, I mean, it is a sitcom. um,
It's
but
hard to do callbacks of jokes. Bazinga.
it's not. It's not like that. Fuck that show. But as I'm remembering how much I love this show, I'm realizing how much more I hate the ending.
Right.
Now, you said you've only seen like a couple episodes of How I Met Your Mother in general.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the only parts of episodes I ever watched were because you were watching them, like in our office or something.
Probably. As you can surmise from the name of the show is about how Ted meets the mother of his kids. And that's what we spend, 8 years trying to find out, waiting for the show to reveal is who the mother is. End of season 8, they show her. We don't have her, we don't meet her character, really, we just see her at the end of season 8. And then season 9 sort of revolves around Barney and Robin's wedding, which is where Ted meets her. And then there's a bunch of flashbacks and flash forwards when Ted's already married to her and things like that. And there are a bunch of hints about why he's telling the story. And ultimately, it's because as he's telling the story to his kids, the mother had been dead already for 6 years. She died of probably cancer. He just says she was sick.
Right.
So he says to his kids, that's how I met your mother. And the first thing his kid says is, "Nah, I don't buy it." This isn't about how you met mom. This is about how you still. I think the exact phrase she used was, "This is how you still have the hots for Aunt Robin."
Right.
And then it's just weird, the tone coming from this kid talking about their mom, their dead mom, that way.
Yeah.
So whatever, and in the end, that is the point of the show. Is that Ted is kind of wants permission from his kids to go after Robin again because he's not sure if his kids would be okay with that. They do a callback to one of the most iconic moment in season 1, which is where Ted steals a blue French horn from a restaurant from his first date with Robin, and he shows up at her apartment and he holds up the blue French horn, sort of like what's the character's name from that John Cusack movie where he holds up the stereo?
Oh yeah, I can't remember the character's name, but I know what you're talking about.
Doppler.
You're thinking of Dobby.
Harry Potter has freed.
Harry Potter's giving us a boombox.
So they do a callback, which, as much as I don't like the ending, I thought that was cool. It's nostalgic. Mm-hmm. It's whatever. So I'm watching season 8. I haven't started watching season 9 again because I don't know if I want to. And I'm kind of going on a rant with one of our friends. Well, two of our friends. I make a rant with one friend, and she says, "No, it's the perfect ending for the show." And another friend of ours is saying he's not really sure about how he feels about the ending.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says his girlfriend loved the ending. So my question to them was, did they watch the show as the show was going on, or was it after the fact?
Right.
Because my friends here who don't like the ending, we've watched the show together basically from season 4 or 5. We all don't like it. My friends who don't have a problem with the ending really watch the show after the fact. So I thought that's maybe where the difference maker there is. People who watch the show. What?
So you're saying they're not real fans?
No, I'm saying maybe it's because while we were waiting years to meet who the mother was, only to have her story become so unimportant.
Right.
Or maybe if you're kind of just binge watching, maybe it doesn't have the same effect.
I mean, that is a fair point. So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do him and Robin have like a relationship throughout?
Yeah.
Like I know
So
they're friends, but do they have sort of a?
yeah. So Robin and Ted, it's pointed out so often during the show. They date in season 2, break up at the end of it. They get back together at some point. They have like an on-off thing. They're Ross and Rachel, but a Ross and Rachel that the show tells you who are not meant to be. because
Another show that I haven't watched.
because Ted wants kids, Robin does not. However, Robin later dates Barney. A move plot-wise that fans weren't really for, but ultimately learned to like. And so, like I said, season 9 is about Robin and Barney's wedding. It's about the weekend of the wedding. The whole season is the weekend of the wedding with flashbacks and flash forwards.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, you're being with season 9 basically shoving the idea down your throat that Robin and Barney are meant to be and they're perfect for each other, and previous seasons showing them like longing for each other but not really finding the right moment. So everyone wants them to be together, and then the finale happens, and they break them up. In the first 15 minutes, they get a divorce, which just seemed like so. It seemed like such a fuck you to the audience.
So Ted's gonna fuck his friend's ex now.
Well,
Although to be fair, I guess he got together with her after they were already together.
yeah, he was with her first. Barney got together with her after Ted and Robin were together.
This is a real incestuous group of friends, man.
Yeah, that's they're very self-aware of the show about that aspect of it. They joke about that, but so there were just a bunch of things I felt were wrong with it. So once he breaks up with Robin, Barney's back to being just a womanizer, completely like getting rid of kind of the character development he's gone through, learning to love someone and all that, and then going back to being his old self.
Wait, is Barney Dougie Hauser?
Yeah, that's Barney.
I was thinking of the other guy.
Jason Segel.
The dopey guy. Yeah. So does he end up getting with her?
Who? Barney?
Ted.
Yeah, so that's the final scene of this show is Ted at her apartment with the blue French horn. And then
So it's just implied, or
yeah, it's just implied. But there was so much hate for the finale, they made an alternate ending.
oh really?
Yeah, they did. They made an alternate ending, which like captured the show, the essence of the show, a lot better. I felt. Ted finally talks to her, and he says, that's how I met her. Is first I had to do this and this and this. So basically, the most important plot points from season 1, then 2, then 3, which was what the show was all about. It's about him recalling all the things that led up to him meeting her.
That's a very strange show, man.
Oh, so an important point, I guess, is the writers for the show. They had this ending ready from the get-go. This was the ending they had. This is the ending they wanted.
The ending that people didn't like.
Yeah, the ending people didn't like. This is the one they wanted. This is the one they had written out from the very beginning of the show. So much so that they had the actors for Ted's kids. They recorded those scenes of them saying, that you want Aunt Robin. They recorded that back when they were shooting season 1, and those two actors have kept it a secret the whole time. And it's just so basically, I feel like it shows a lack of or an unwillingness to adapt to how your show evolves.
I mean, In a way, yeah, I could see that. But in another sense, I think it's sort of people sort of take shows and sort of run with them as fans, and they have their own opinions about uh, how they want it to end or whatnot. But at the end of the day, it sort of is. I don't know. It sort of is the vision of the
Of the
of the
writers.
writers.
And the writers of the show, this is loosely based on their experience. Like, it's two
Mm-hmm.
guys. The one guy met his wife in college. The other guy was single after college. So exactly how like Marshall and Ted. And I mean, there is an aspect to sticking to your guns. That whole attitude about it, I kind of do admire. But at the same time, they've been, you know, shoving ideas down your throat about these characters, and then just sort of reverting it back to season one.
Yeah.
Cause
Yeah, I mean, I think shows do naturally evolve, don't they?
yeah,
So,
like I know we never finished Breaking Bad when I was watching with you. What we get up to, like season 3 when I was watching with you,
um,
something like that, right?
I can't remember.
But originally they were gonna kill off Jesse Pinkman in season 1.
Right.
They kept him around because
People liked them.
people liked him, they liked the actor, and they worked him into the story more. And then there's the I don't know if you ever watched Scrubs.
Yeah.
The janitor was supposed to be a figment of JD's imagination.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
They were thinking about making him a figment of JD's imagination.
Right.
So much so that in season 1, JD's the only one janitor interacts with in season 1.
Yeah. Right.
So I don't know, I feel like there are enough examples of people adapting what they originally had in mind versus how it turned out because of
Yeah.
you know.
Although in those circumstances, they didn't change the ending.
That's true.
I mean, maybe loosely so, like in the case of
Breaking
Bad or something like that.
Mhm.
But um, yeah, I think it's an interesting relationship between your viewers, your audience, and as a writer, because like I think the audience definitely gets to attach to a point where they feel like they're sort of owed certain endings,
Mhm. Or
or
they
they're
feel
owed
like
certain
it's
things with the characters.
they feel like it's their show.
Yeah, well,
And
exactly.
at the end of the
Which
day,
which is what you want as a writer,
yeah.
but at the same time, you also are setting up for people to be upset with your choices,
Mhm.
um, because no matter what you do, they will be. If you have enough people who are actually passionate about it. Um, but yeah, it's hard for me to form an opinion on that just because I've never watched the show.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, the way you're describing it does sound kind of weird that like the kids are like, so are the kids adults when he tells them that, or
No, they're probably teenagers.
I think you'd just be more upset about your dead mom, and
Yeah. Well, I think they
you
say
wouldn't be
that
like,
the mom, by the time he's telling it, she's been dead for 6 years.
right,
And I mean, I can understand why he would go back to Robin, with the mom being dead. Like, in essence, all the differences they had now no longer matter. Ted has his kids. Robin's achieved what she wants in her career, so she can go and settle down. So it makes sense. And there are a lot of comments, like in response to people who didn't like it. People always say, well, life doesn't always give you what it wants.
right,
But at the same time, we're talking about it was just the silliest TV show. You had made up animals, like I think they had a cockamouse, a half cockroach, half mouse. It was a, you know what I mean?
and that was your mother.
The show wasn't always,
Realistic.
well, it wasn't always realistic. It's a sitcom, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it sort of is weird in that, like, okay, he got what he wanted in having kids, and she got to do the career thing or whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's sort of sad for them to get together then, because then it's like, okay, well, we had to be apart to achieve the things that we wanted to do, and we couldn't like be there to encourage each other and help each other through that. So it's like, what kind of relationship is that exactly?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I mean, I definitely think that things don't have to end on a high note. You
No,
know,
they definitely don't.
I think some of the most memorable, um, some of the most memorable things I've watched, which of course I can't name any of them now, but some of the most memorable things that I've watched have had just like really, really tough and sad endings.
Some of those memorable
Where,
things that I watched, I don't remember them right now.
yeah, exactly. Um, where it's just like after you finish it, you just feel like so empty because first of all, you don't have this series to watch anymore, and then also like it just sort of it ends, and it sort of reminds you that like, yeah, like life is not fair.
Yeah.
Things don't happen for a reason, and well, at least not everything happens for a reason, and sometimes that's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's sort of the beautiful part of TV shows and movies is that you don't have uh, an effect on it. You can't dictate how it goes. It's sort of just like another aspect of life.
Yeah, for sure. And I think
So
that was the thing about, I think, the alternate ending. She's still dead.
yeah,
It's not like they lived together happily ever after and all. She's still dead. It's just in my opinion, it's just a more fitting tone to what the show is all about. And yeah, like you said, some of my favorite shows or movies, their endings weren't necessarily happy endings. I think it's just more about whether
consistency
or not,
of theme.
yeah, consistency of theme, whether or not, maybe if it's a TV show, if it kind of just ran too long and therefore it's kind of hard to get that right ending.
Yeah.
Like with Breaking Bad.
I mean, that was a
Bad
very long
very
show
short.
as well.
Yeah, How I Met Your Mother was 9 seasons, and I read that really the writers wanted 7. So maybe that was a part of it too, was this whole Ted, Robin, Barney sort of drama maybe just dragged on too long with 9 seasons, where maybe if it was 7, it would have come off a lot better.
But yeah, that's another interesting aspect about people, fans sort of wanting to make the show theirs, is that you'll always get those fans who just don't want a show to end, and the fact that they're still watching makes it profitable, and so like networks don't want shows to end and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at least a good amount of people realize that it's understandable that you want your show to keep going because you want to watch it, but that tends to really dilute what the writers were trying to do.
Yeah.
And you just get a lot of filler episodes, i.e. like every anime that's ever existed.
Yeah, you can really spot the filler episodes for sitcoms because they're typically
subplot.
Not necessarily subplot. It's the episodes where they're like, oh, let's remember all the times you did this, and then it's just a montage of previous episodes. Friends, they were like the most guilty of doing that. So many times.
How many seasons did Friends have?
10.
Really, only 10?
Yeah, it's 10.
God, I feel like they have like 20 seasons.
But 10, and it was like 24 episodes per season.
Right.
It's a lot. Breaking Bad, I mean, it only had 5 seasons and 13 episodes. And I think that was the plan from the beginning. 5 seasons, that's what we want. And I love the ending of Breaking Bad.
I mean, even Breaking Bad had some like filler feeling episodes. I think everything sort of does.
Yeah, I mean,
although I think part of that is just sort of like the natural arc of like plateauing and like falling action sort of stuff.
Right. You don't want to get to the pivotal moment too quickly. This show I watched, Leftovers. They had 28 episodes, and that was it. And they were almost not going to do a season 3. So season 1 and 2 were both 10 episodes each. And season 2, while it was a good ending, it didn't really end the show. And they were unsure if they were going to do a season 3. And the writer said he would come back, but only if he could do 8 episodes, because he wanted to finish the show right.
Right.
So,
I mean, that's the worst thing that can happen too, is that if a show does not get a conclusion, or has to rush to conclude because they're not going to be on anymore or something like that. I mean,
I'm trying to think of shows that did that.
Once again, I can't remember any, but I'm sure there are. Yeah, so I mean, in a way, it's good that at least How I Met Your Mother had an end. In fact, it had 2 ends.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, I mean, the whole point of the whole thing is in the title, so it's a bit weird that, I mean, in a way, I guess it's sort of nice. It's sort of like, life beyond a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
or like, just because somebody dies doesn't mean that, your life is over, or
Right.
et cetera, even if you have kids with them or whatever. So, and I mean, in a way, that's nice. But in another way, it's sort of like, hey, you know what we've been doing for 9 seasons? Forget about it.
Exactly.
She's dead. Move on.